Hi, Mel here, and in today's video I am on to the second flight of my around the world trip that has me circumnavigating the globe and traveling more than 20,000 miles. This business class flight is on Turkish Airlines, departing from Istanbul, Turkey, and arriving more than 10 hours later in the beautiful city of Hong Kong. The first segment of my journey was also on Turkish Airlines, but that flight was aboard a Boeing 777-9 Dreamliner, with their most popular business class cabin in which every passenger has a private pod with direct aisle access. While this flight is on one of their 777-300ERs, which features an older business class product configured in a 2x3x2 configuration. So what did I think? Did the suboptimal cabin configuration impact the quality of my trip, or did the excellent level of food and service outweigh the lack of privacy? And would I consider flying this older business class product again? I hope you'll come along with me today to find out. Also, if you enjoy this type of content, I hope you'll hit the like button and subscribe. And with that out of the way, let's get started. The first stop on my around the world trip was the beautiful city of Istanbul. The city is so colorful and full of energy, and despite multiple visits, I never grow tired of spending time there. But as always, the few days I had in Istanbul passed by much too quickly, and I soon found myself heading to the airport to catch my evening flight to Hong Kong. I guess evening flight might be a misleading choice of words. My flight to Hong Kong was scheduled to depart Istanbul in the middle of the night at 1:40 a.m. My hotel had been kind enough to give me 4 p.m. checkout, so I enjoyed a full day in the city before heading to the airport. And the timing worked perfectly because I arrived at the airport with enough time to take advantage of a whole evening in Turkish Airlines' fantastic lounge. My driver dropped me off at the priority entrance for Turkish Airlines. Since I was traveling carry-on only and already had my boarding pass, I was able to skip check-in and head straight to security. But I passed the business class counters en route and can confirm that there wasn't a line. Istanbul Airport is the larger of 2 international airports serving Istanbul. It was built to replace Ataturk Airport, and while it's been operational since 2018, the project isn't scheduled to be completed until 2027, at which time it's expected to handle 150 million passengers a year. Istanbul Airport is currently the largest airport in Turkey and the largest privately owned airport in the world. Despite the size, it's fairly easy to find the Turkish Airlines lounge. Follow the signs for the business class lounge, which will lead you all the way around the duty-free shop. There's a Smiles and Miles lounge you can access as well, but I've generally found that lounge to be more crowded than the business class lounge. Once you see this sign, check in with the agent at the bottom of the escalator and head up to the lounge. The Turkish Airlines business class lounge is one of my favorite lounges. While it's not the fanciest lounge I've been to, there's just something very homey and welcoming about this lounge that really draws me in. I did a detailed tour and review of the Turkish Airlines lounge last year, so if you're interested in that, I'll put a link in the description below. But for now, what are some of the things that I love about this lounge? Maybe it's the player piano that greets you when you enter. Or maybe it's the lockers that allow you to enjoy the lounge without the burden of your luggage. Or maybe it's the variety of seating areas you can find throughout the lounge. Or maybe it's the abundance of light and the views of the terminal. Or maybe it's the special exhibits and activities that give you something interesting to see or do while you wait. Or maybe it's the unique and incredibly adorable children's area. Or maybe it's the bathrooms with full-time attendants keeping them spotlessly clean. Or maybe it's the accommodations the lounge offers for people who need to get some work done. But who am I kidding? While I do really appreciate all of those things, the thing I love most about the Turkish Airlines lounge is definitely the food. While I did spend some time reading and relaxing during my time in the lounge, I also took full advantage of all the incredible food on offer. Boarding for my 1:40 a.m. flight was scheduled to begin at 12:40, so I made my way to the gate just a few minutes before. The gate area was actually pretty empty, and the business class boarding line hadn't started forming yet, so I took the opportunity to check out the plane that would be taking us to Hong Kong, the 777-300ER. The aircraft is equipped with an economy cabin of 300 Weber seats, arranged in a 3x3x3 configuration across 3 cabins. The business class cabin, which is split into 2 cabins, features 49 Zodiac Aura Light seats arranged in a 2x3x2 configuration. The seats convert into 6'4" lie-flat beds, and there is a small privacy screen located between adjacent seats. My seat for the flight would be in the rear cabin, seat number 6D. As much as I love a window seat, I selected the middle section because I didn't want to have to climb over someone, and I wanted to reduce the chances of someone climbing over me. While it isn't an optimal cabin configuration or seat, I did know what I was getting when I booked. It just so happened that the only available flight to Hong Kong that day was aboard this plane. But I was excited for the flight anyway, so let's head in and check it out. I headed to the rear business class cabin and found my seat. There was a pillow on the seat, and across the way was a bag with slippers and a small blanket. The seats are not bad looking at all. The pleasant color palette is gray with red accents, and things are in good condition and very clean. The seats are also quite plush, especially the leather headrests. Once seated, I could appreciate the substantial amount of available legroom, and the storage bins, each divided into 2 compartments, are very generous in size. I was able to fit my large backpack, plus my purse and a few other things. Directly above the storage bin is the Inflight Entertainment screen, as well as a coat hook and what I think are 2 small storage compartments. The seat controls are conveniently located right past the armrest, and the tray table is stowed in the same console. Also on that side is a reading light, and under the armrest you'll find a recessed area with the IFE remote, the power outlet, the headphone jack, and the USB port. At about this time, the flight attendant brought me a scented wet towel and a pre-departure drink. I changed into my slippers and took a minute to enjoy my drink. Then I received great news. The seat next to me would remain empty for the entire flight. Between that fact and the extendable partition between seats, I think I'll have more privacy on this flight than I expected. As we waited for takeoff, they showed us a video highlighting Turkish Airlines food service and their anytime dining policy, and another video about the special bread they serve, which I've had before and really enjoy. This seems like a good time to check out the menus. The food menu provided a choice of 3 starters, 3 main meals, and 4 desserts, as well as fruit salad or a cheese plate. From what I could tell, they wouldn't be using the starter trolley or the dessert trolley like they usually do, which makes total sense given the late hour. The before landing meal also featured several options, and there were snacks and drinks available throughout the flight. The bar menu is actually exactly the same as the one on my previous flight. They offer several Turkish selections in addition to options from popular vineyards in countries like France and Spain. You can choose from a variety of white wines, red wines, a rosé wine, a port wine, Taittinger champagne, aperitifs, and beers. In addition to the food and bar menus, I also received a coffee menu. I had received this on my earlier flight too, and as a big coffee drinker, I love that they offer such a wide range of coffee drinks. After placing my order, I decided to see what the Amenity Kit had to offer. Like last time, the amenities are packaged in a Lanvin bag, although I like this bag a bit more than the last one I received. Inside are socks with rubber grips, an eye mask, earplugs, toothbrush and toothpaste, and Lanvin hand cream, lip balm, and a hair tie. The safety announcements started playing right on time, and we soon pulled away from the terminal and headed toward the runway. Since I didn't have a window seat to watch during takeoff, I had to settle for watching the live footage from the aircraft's external cameras. With a very short amount of time left before dinner, I quickly took a look at the Inflight Entertainment system. The IFE screen is a 15.4-inch touchscreen display, which looks a bit smaller than that since it's quite far from the seat. The display is bright and clear though. The Denon noise-canceling headphones are comfortable and provide nice audio quality. The remote has one side for gaming and one side for controlling the entertainment options. With the screen so far away, this is one time where I will definitely be using the remote. There are many entertainment options to choose from, including the flight map, hundreds of movies, TV shows, kids programming, music, games, and even live television. It's a very intuitive and responsive system too. Turkish Airlines also offers free Wi-Fi to its business class customers, so no matter what your taste, you should have no trouble finding something to entertain you. Having a flight that leaves at 1:40 a.m. creates an unusual predicament. Nobody really wants to eat at 2 in the morning, right? But on the other hand, passengers will expect at least 2 meals on a flight that clocks in at over 10 hours. So the crew is essentially stuck with the task of squeezing in a meal as quickly as possible. The crew aboard my flight did a fantastic job making this happen, to accommodate both the passengers who wanted to eat and those who wanted to skip the meal and go right to sleep. The flight attendants helped prepare the seats for sleeping before the meal service began. With the seat pad already in place, I used the controls to elevate my feet for a more relaxing dinner. To be honest, I wasn't hungry and would normally never eat at this time of the night, but since I was reviewing the flight, I felt like I should experience the dinner service. And I wasn't alone. I was very surprised to see that more than half the passengers ordered dinner. Meal service started with a drink and mixed nuts. The Takeoff champagne they serve is excellent. I highly recommend it. Even though this dinner was in the middle of the night, they still put effort into the presentation, including a tablecloth and a candle. And there was still a flying chef overseeing the meal service and hand-delivering the special bread. My first course was the Turkish meze, which was both fresh and flavorful. The special bread the chef had dropped off is made from wheat grown in Anatolia's fertile lands and reflects a culinary journey that extends back 12,000 years. I personally love it. My entree arrived next, the lamb chops with tabbouleh salad. The lamb was flavorful and tender, and the tabbouleh salad was delicious, fresh, and with just the right amount of seasoning. When time for dessert arrived, I'm embarrassed to admit I had 2 selections. In my defense, the chef encouraged me to order both when I asked about the 2 options, and who am I to turn down something sweet? My selections were the double nugget bar with caramelized pineapple and the apricot ice cream. The chef had been right, both were delicious. And I can truthfully say, no regrets. With dinner complete, let's check out the bathroom. The bathroom is small as expected, but also quite nice with a well-lit vanity mirror, an extended sink, automatic water, an automatic garbage flap, and molten brown amenities. I especially love the Reed diffuser oil, which helps the bathroom smell nice. And the cute decorative plant is a really nice touch. Since the flight attendant had already ensured the linens were in place before dinner, it didn't take me long at all to prepare my seat for sleeping. I climbed in and found the space to be very generous and comfortable. And even though I was more exposed than when I'm in a pod by the window, the walls around my head made me feel more shielded than I had expected. I slept better than expected, and when I woke up, we only had a couple of hours left in the flight. I was happy to start my day with a scented wet towel and a bottle of water. If you watched the review of my first Turkish Airlines journey, you might remember that on that flight I started Wicked, but didn't have a chance to finish it. So with 2 hours left in the flight, I happily took the opportunity to pick up where I had left off. While I was still enjoying the movie, breakfast was served. It started with a selection of cheeses, olives, tomatoes, and cucumbers, along with a small fruit salad, a spicy pepper spread, honeycomb with clotted cream, and a chia, coconut, and blueberry bowl. I was so impressed with the amount of food, this wasn't even the main course yet, and I was equally impressed with the taste. I also ordered a flat white off the coffee menu. For my main course, I ordered poached eggs and spinach, which, despite its look, proved to be a tasty combination. And I also ordered one of Turkish Airlines' homemade detox drinks. Overall, another excellent meal. A few minutes before we began our approach into Hong Kong, the flight attendant dropped off the last food of the flight, a tiny box of chocolates. I pulled up the exterior camera feed on the IFE screen so I could watch our approach and landing. So what did I think of my latest flight with Turkish Airlines? Did the 2x3x2 configuration ruin the experience for me? Honestly, no. I really enjoyed this flight overall. Of course, I missed having a window seat with direct aisle access, and the level of privacy is not ideal. But all in all, it was much better than I expected, especially since I lucked out with an empty seat next to me. Also, while I prefer day flights to night flights, the onboard crew did a fantastic job making it the best experience possible. They prepared our seats for bed as soon as possible, served dinner quickly, and ensured that the food service was excellent, despite the strange time frame for meals. All in all, I was very happy with my overall experience, and for the record, I'd book it again if my preferred configuration with pods isn't available. In terms of how much I paid for this trip, it was a fantastic deal. As I mentioned earlier, this was the second of 7 flights for an around-the-world award trip that I booked through ANA Airlines. For all 7 flights, 6 of which were in business class, I paid a total of 125,000 points plus $791.40 in taxes and fees. The review from my first flight of the trip is already up, and I'll put a link to that in the description below. I also plan to review the other flights of my around-the-world trip in the coming weeks, so I hope you'll stay tuned for those videos. Thanks for coming along today. Comment below if you have any questions. And if you've flown with Turkish Airlines or if you've taken advantage of ANA's Around the World deal, I'd love to hear about it. Also, if you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It's a great way to help the channel and enables me to make more videos like this one. Until next time, happy travels.